Alright everybody, this is Camronslacker here, and let's fucking do this for the 15th time, because I've been trying to give you a deck profile of my Kaijus for the longest time, but something's always been happening. So let's see if this works out. Let's not waste any time, and let's get to it. Hope you guys can see. But for the monsters, you run 3 Jizukiru, 3 Jizukiru, the Star Destroyer Kaiju. Basically, I basically run this guy at 3 because he is very big. He's a 3,300 attack point monster, and that's always amazing. So you'll always want to give them to you. The thing about kaijus is that they tribute over your opponent's monster, and when your opponent has a kaiju, you give yourself a kaiju. You give this is the type of kaiju that you give to yourself. It helps that he's a light, so you can use honest with him. I don't, but yeah, I'm running a pure kaiju build. Remove 3 counters and negate an effect, and destroy 1 card on the field. It doesn't have to be the card you negated. So if you negate like a spell card, you can use his destroy 1 effect to destroy, like, say, a face down. So of course he's amazing. You run 3 of him. Next up is, of course, the one everyone uses, 3 Gamasiel. Okay, 3 Gamasiel. Why do you run 3 Gamasiel? Because he's the weakest one, so you give him to your opponent, right? And say, give yourself a Jizukiru, and, you know, just attack over it. But the thing about Gamasiel is that, unlike in normal decks that use Gamasiel, you generally want to be sure that you just attack over the sea turtle. Why? Because next turn your opponent can just put in defense and is at 3k defense. That's a big booty. But the worst part about it is that this motherfucker has a quick effect that can negate basically anything. Your opponent activates something, remove 2 counters, negate, and banish the card. It doesn't destroy, it banishes, which makes this card also good for your side of the field. However, you normally give this to your opponent because it's the weakest. But be careful about those counters. He will make you lose games if you don't play him right. Okay. Only him, Jizukiru, and Gamasiel are the quick effect ones. I think everyone else is not a quick effect. 2 of Godzilla, or Darugamon, the Mad Flame Kaiju. Remove counters, destroy all your opponent's monsters on the field, and this card can attack the turn it does that. But it's 3k, so you normally would give them to yourself. That's awesome. But once again, he is really cool, especially since he's a dinosaur. So if you want to put him in a dinosaur deck, like the new dinosaur deck that's out, you can. But generally, just keep him for yourself. Next up, I run 2 of Kogumosgos, the sticky string kaiju. Basically, remove counters, and my opponent cannot attack, and its effects are negated. I would give this to my opponent, 2 over myself, because generally they won't get their chance to use their effect, so you can just attack over it. Plus it's a bug, and I don't like bugs. And now for the one-ofs of the kaijus. 1 Thunder King Kaiju, the Thunder Strike Kaiju. Remove counters, and it can attack up to 3 times. If your opponent has, like, say, for example, 3 monsters, this card can attack 3 monsters, and their effects are negated. So it's basically a Utopia the Lightning. But He's 33 too, just like Jizukuru. So you again would give him to yourself. However, my problem with this card, my biggest problem with this card, is that it has no protection. I want protection and power. That's why I like Jizukuru so much. That's why Jizukuru is at 3 and this is at 1 in this deck. 1 Radion because the token effect, because remove counters and get a token that's the exact same as Radion. Personally, Radion isn't, well, give him to yourself or give him to your opponent. Just make sure you have something that's bigger than him. The biggest problem for me is that he's level 7, so your opponent could probably exceed with him. Now for the Mystery Dust Kaiju. Another bug. Anyway, once per turn, during either player's turn, remove counters, and my opponent basically my opponent's attack and defense become half for their monsters. That's fine. That's a fine effect. But again, this is the type of kaiju that you give to your opponent because again, it's not a quick effect, and you can just attack over it with say Jizukuru or Durugomon. I play one of this motherfucker, the Mecha Kaiju, the Mecha Godzilla, or the Super Anti Kaiju War Machine Mecha Dorgon. So it's a long name. Basically, he has a unique effect where if say a kaiju is in your hand or on your graveyard, you remove counters and you equip it to him and he gains the attack. And you can just keep doing that with each kaiju. The problem is that he himself only has 0 attack or a question mark until you give him some, kaijus. And you can't give him to your opponent. You cannot give him to your opponent unless you interrupt the kaiju slumber. Without slumber, he's stuck with you. That's why he's at 1. Simply because I can't give this to my opponent. For draw power, I play 2 Kakardis because this deck really doesn't get a lot of draws. For the one-ofs of the monsters, these are just non-kaiju monsters. 1 Battle Fader, because again, my fields are normally empty, so to stop attacks is always good. 1 Grand Mole, because if you have a kaiju and your opponent has a kaiju, you attack into the kaiju with Grand Mole. Grand Mole's effect, the kaiju and Grand Mole go back to your hand, and the kaiju has a free attack on your opponent. Now for the special monster that's in the deck. You have a deck full of monsters, and deciding to play a god. The Winged Dragon of Ra, the Egyptian god card. Why? This deck runs around tributing. Tribute 3 monsters. I don't use Lava Golem, I just don't have Lava Golem, but yeah, I run Spear Mode, and I run the actual Egyptian god card. Don't worry about his effect of pay life points, because thanks to Spear Mode, he automatically gains 4,000 attack points and 4,000 defense points, which is always good. Yes. Someone please comment down in the comment section if gods are allowed in tournaments, because I don't know from because I just never tried using a god in tournament. But if he's not allowed, then I'll take him out of the deck for something else. But if he is, then yay. Next up, I run 3 of Waterfront, the field spell. Gain counters for any time something puts in the graveyard. You put something in the graveyard, gains a counter. Your opponent puts something in the graveyard, gain a counter. Max is 5. You can remove counters to gain a kaiju, and remove a counter and move 1 counter from this card to stop it from being destroyed. It's an amazing field spell, and it makes kaiju just even better. It looks like Tokyo. Literally, Waterfront looks like Tokyo. 3 X-Files. or Kaiju files. I'm sorry. Gain a counter for each time a Kaiju is summoned, whether it be on your side or your opponent's side, and the max is 5. And I can target one monster, it's Kaiju monster, destroy that target, and special summon a different Kaiju. So say my opponent has just a Kaiju and I have Gamma-Seal. I can destroy their or my Gamma-Seal to get another Jizukidu or something like that. The max is 5 on this, and I can remove 3 counters to gain a Kaiju spell or trap card, like the field spell, or the next card, in my opinion the best card in the deck, Slumber. Thanks to the ban list, you play him at 2, but if it wasn't for the ban list, you'd play him at 3. 3 because of course, blow up all monsters on the field, and then give your opponent a Kaiju of your choice, and give yourself a Kaiju. You can banish this card from the graveyard to add a Kaiju monster from your deck to your hand. But on the turn you use this, your Kaiju must attack. So good, it's so good. Now for spell and trap card destruction, I just run 2 MST because I honestly don't think because in this deck Twin Twister isn't a good idea because you want Kaijus. You don't want too much Kaiju, but you want Kaijus. So you run MST instead of Twin Twister, where you possibly have to discard a Kaiju. That's it for the spells. Let's go into the traps. 3 capture mission. The max amount of counters you can have on this thing is 3. I can target 1 Kaiju on the field, put it face down defense. That is awesome because I don't have to worry about those pesky effects. And the best part about this card is that when it's on the field and your opponent destroys it with like a Twin Twister or something, you automatically draw 2. You draw 2 cards. Yep. Ooh, that's always so funny. My opponent uses like Twin Twister on me and they pop it and I draw 2. Next up for the trap line, I play 2 Blazing Miraphors just to close games faster. Destroy my opponent's stuff, destroy my stuff. You both take equal or half of it, and it just does its job. Blazing Miraphors. Now for the 1-0s, 1 Scrap Iron Scarecrow, just to stop attack, because again, plus it's from Yusei's deck, so I automatically have a love towards it. Bottomless Trap Hole, because just in case you give your opponent a Kaiju that you don't want to give them, bottomless, or they summon something, you know. Brainwashing. 1 brainwashing. Okay. You have a Kaiju. You give your opponent a Kaiju. That Kaiju goes back to you. You literally just wipe their board. You give your opponent a Kaiju and you activate this, it just comes back to you. You don't even need to give yourself a Kaiju. But if you do have a Kaiju on your field and your opponent has a Kaiju, activate this. That Kaiju that your opponent has goes to the graveyard. The old ruling was that you get 2 Kaijus, but no, not this time. Okay. Now for one of this card, Skill Drain. Pay 1,000 face-up cards on the field's effect monsters are negated. It's awesome because Kaijus are so big that you can just run over a lot of things. That's why you only run 1 of this. Plus it's 1 on the ban list, but whatever. 1 is enough. Whew. And the last card in the deck is 1 Solemn Warning. I just don't have enough for strike. And this card is also really good. Yay! Solemn Warning. Okay. Now I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile of my pure Kaiju build. If you have any suggestions for me to run something else in this deck or run a different deck, please let me know. If you want any more Camronslacker content, please let me know in the comment section. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And like I always try to say, have a great day, everyone, and bye-bye.